So you've seen the title of the video, and I will say that this was a very hard thing for me to figure out at first, being autistic. I'd hated my body for a long time and I had no idea why. I had no idea where that came from. So from a young age, I didn't care whether I was playing with girls or boys, or if I was playing with toys or boys' toys. I was just playing with what everybody played with. It's not like I ever was enthusiastic about wearing a princess costume instead of a Spider-Man costume. Fun fact, I got a Spider-Man costume when I was like 8 and I wore it far too much. I think I wore it to school. And I wore it to a CrossFit Kids T-ball game, so that was fun. So around the time of puberty, I was very scared of it, you know? When they first introduced us to puberty at school, they split up the boys and the girls, and I thought that that was very weird because I had no concept of anything going down there. That AFABs had it differently to AMABs. I had no idea about intersex either. But in my like child brain, there were boys and girls, right? But I didn't know the difference. I guess like boys dressed more masculine and girls dressed more feminine. Obviously, I've evolved out of that now, but I didn't understand why we were split up. I would have no idea what the boys were talking about. And then when we would have these co-ed lessons, they said, we're not going to talk about sex, we're going to talk about puberty. And then one guy said, I saw this really informational video about sperm trying to get to the egg, and they said, no, that's sex. I had no idea what he was talking about. I didn't know what sperm was. I didn't, like, I knew egg was like the food we eat. I was very confused. Uh, Everybody seemed to know before me what sex and puberty was all about. I guess because my parents were Christian and I didn't learn too much. Soon after that, my mom gave me a book and I still didn't understand it. Anyway, when my body started changing, I wasn't in a very good place. I didn't know why I hated to look at myself in the mirror. I didn't know why. Like I felt like I was in somebody else's body, you know? Like this isn't me, ew. You know, and at first I was like, oh, I'm a bit chubbier than the other kids. That's why I hate myself, right? But it was something much more deeper and something that affected me way more. When I was 14 years old, I was in a very bad place. I wasn't, this is very hard for me to talk about. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I was in a type of place that I would rather not be alive than in this body. And I ended up in the hospital because of that. And I don't know why I was feeling this way. It felt like there was a wall blocking me, like, or I built that wall, trying not to figure it out, trying to hide it, you know? It was around this time where I found out what being non-binary and being transgender was. I still was grasping it, but I was identifying as non-binary, but I felt like I couldn't tell anybody. And through learning more, I eventually found out that I was a boy. I don't remember it very much because I was going through a lot at the time, and I think my memory has blocked most of it out just because of how down I was feeling at the time. Yeah, I worked it out with myself, and since learning about it, it's been much clearer to me, like who I am and why I don't like my body. It took me from feeling really down to eventually like let myself open up, I think. And I continue to educate myself, not just on being trans, but on sexualities and things. And I find myself knowing a lot more than a lot of queer people, just because that information is not readily available to us, which it really should be.